I'm Liz, and this is Random Workings, and welcome to our 30 Minutes to Do miniature painting series. Now, I'm continuing on with the Sequitors. I'm fairly sure I finished basing, or at least the first layer of basing. I can probably do another layer of the yellow, because the yellow's not quite thick enough, but with other paints I'll probably sort itself out. No, today's whole deal is doing a little bit of nitpicking about lines. So if you look at this model here, you'll see that there's red and yellow in places that they don't want to be, same with the gold. And also I might pick out a few areas of gold that still need a little bit of work, like sometimes it's in the face. I'll be using this new brush, which you can tell from the whiteness, because this is my new layer brush. It doesn't look anything like this one, so prepare for it to become not wide very quickly. Sorry about the shaking. Just not very sturdy. So, you know, one set of paints, and I'll have this brush in place. So yeah, today's fixing, and then hopefully a little bit of shade. You won't see that. Shade. So yeah, I'm gonna get on with that. I'm going to be listening to my music bed because I've basically finished it. I just want to make a visualizer for it before I put it out, so that I can easily point towards it and everyone can find who it is we're listening to. Yeah, let's sort out the camera. Get going. I've got all my paints on my wet palette. There we go, I remember this word. Sort of. Cool, because all the paints are there. I won't need to mess on with them too much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with yellow, and then do red, and then do gold in terms of fixing. Because I think if the paint does get colorized by the other colour on the brush, hopefully not, I think gold will be least affected and yellow most affected. And I should probably do it in reverse, really, because yellow's the one I need to mess on with. But so, get a bit of water on my brush. So I hope everyone's okay. And I hope you all find something fun to do while watching this, even if that's just watching this, or just listening to me mumble in the background of something else you're doing. So I've got to remember that because it's a new brush and because it may have not held the water very good, it's going to have problems spreading. But and I still want to remember not to put too thick a layer on. If I have it directly in my face, A, I'm not leaning forward, and B, it should be in the screen. I think I say this every time, even though I know it actually does bother me, but I'm not bothered. too much about it being perfect. It's my first go in a very long time. And I'm not used to the pits. Look at that, it's popping. I think someone recommended in a channel I watch that you use purple below yellow. Or is it pink below yellow? I think it's purple below yellow or brown skinned ones, and pink below the other. Knowing me, it's probably pink underneath. And I'm getting my reference wrong. I've painted my hand. Light paint. Because it's a more pointed brush, this brush is a lot more pointed than the base brush, which is a lot more flat. Which means I can do the finer corners and stuff with a nice little pointy jab. I think I might be watering my paints down too much, because I think I'm either watering them down or not watering them down enough, or doing too thin, because they seem to be sort of drying as I'm still brushing. Edging is going to be my biggest foe. I don't know how clear it was. I was showing this off, but the edges between two colours are not my best areas. Nor are the hidden recesses really. So yeah, I was saying earlier that my music band's done. The music crafting one is finished. It's come to about 5 hours 20 in length, so that's what, 10 and a bit episodes. And then of course it'll bleed over to the next one. So plenty of opportunities for different music beds each episode. I think I made more mess on the front of this guy, on the front of this person, than I started with. Right, yellow. One. You'll see, I've made a more mess of this like area. I said I would though. Not bothered. I'm totally bothered. Yeah, the crafters one is done in 5 hours. The movers one is done at about 3 hours. I think it might just be short. Not quite finished putting it together. The adventurers one, that's going to take me a bit longer because I want it to specifically feel like, hey, you're going on a journey, then you've got a hard part, then you've got like a celebration, then you've got a journey again. So it's a very tailored experience, that song. And I think that one's about 3 hours as well. This a lot of the timings are without taking into account fading across songs, which would take a bit off both sides of the song. So it'd take a little bit off the front of the next song, a little bit off the back of the previous song. Not too much, only about a second, and it's a fade in. Sometimes it's hard to pick the two, the point to change over. Because I obviously don't want to shorten the song, but I also don't want it to sound jarring as it changes. But yeah. I was thinking of changing the name Movers, but I couldn't. I honestly can't think of an alternative name that doesn't sound slightly bad. Gunner, obviously not. Runner, not really. I recently thought of All-Nighters. But again, I'm not sure on that. It's not really an all-nighter at 3 hours only. Although you're welcome to repeat the songs when watching. Obviously you won't see anything neatening up until I get onto the last colours. Well, red would be the most obvious, because that I think is the largest covering, which means that it's the one where most stuff has gone wandering onto. When making the music beds, I have tried to make it so I enjoy listening to it, as well as not sticking just to what I love as a music sound. Not that it hasn't gone that way. It's very dance and electro heavy. Both are quite heavy in dance and electron. The genre. I'm gonna keep referring it to it as Movers. The Movers one is very heavy in dance, but it's also got a bit of rock in there. Whereas Crafters has a bit more country. And also a lot more pop. There's a bit of jazz. I'm not the biggest jazz fan, but there is jazz around. My biggest concern, like I said, is that it could sound jarring, because what I did was I got everything and then I just randomly ordered it, and then as I was putting it together I listened to it and I didn't sound too bad, but then I think I'm slowly going tone deaf with the amount of music I've been listening to, because I swear some of the songs sound exactly the same. Possibly do, but words escape me. Oh, it's not my words that escape me, it's my thoughts escape me. Come back, thoughts, I need you. Where was I? Oh yeah, so hopefully it doesn't sound too sort of mono soundy, but it might go a bit confusing as the music goes from one kind of music to the other. So like the crafting one, there is a bit where it goes from quite soft country to a slightly more beaty electro and dance. I basically made it so that I would listen to it as is the end result. And the little errors, shall we say, will be covered up by the fact that A, the volume is really low for you guys, except if you watch the visualizer it's turned up there. And B, I'm hoping when you're watching and stuff, you're taking in the main content and the background noise is literally background noise, which means you don't notice any major changes. I hide my mistakes by hoping that you have zoned out. I know when I was listening to it, I kept zoning out. Having to repeat the same song. Enough talking, more doing. Because I'm only doing touch-up, this is a lot faster. Or should be. Knowing me, I'm probably going really slow. But yeah, using an actual camera was not the best idea for being super happy with what I've done, because the camera picks up all of the flaws. But again, just shows, should show that I'm just learning, because hopefully I improve. Or go for less complicated models. Anything major happened that I can talk about? I mean, I'm sure everyone else has major things they think should be talked about, but I think not talking at the outside world is probably a good thing every so often. Plus, my attention to the outside world is very minimal. I have Twitter, but I don't really look at people outside of who I'm following. Unless I'm looking to expand my follow. I do it maybe 2 every few weeks. I don't want people thinking I'm just trying to increase my count. Or that I haven't put thought into picking to follow them. I can't decide if me losing my track of thought's good or a bad thing. Obviously it's bad because I'm losing my track of thought, but it also means you guys get silence from me as I suddenly stop waffling about whatever it was that I was thinking about. I just find it very hard to concentrate on 2 things. It's like I have the music bed and I'm doing work, And then when I really need to start concentrating on the work, I have to stop the music because my brain just can't handle it. Especially if it's something I'm trying to figure out. I mean, the music's on minus 40 dB. Or should be. Which I think OBS has that like as 1%. Minus 20 dB, there's a volume percentage of 10. And I've got the music playing at minus 40 for the majority of the video. The beginning and end are about 20 because you don't have to, I don't want the music overriding the sound of me, especially if it's changing volume. But I do want you guys to still be able to hear it. I suppose I could technically make it change depending on the audio, but that's a bit finicky and it doesn't always work. Last person of yellow. About 8 minutes left. Question to the audience. Video names. I've sort of been making slight jokes. Not very good ones. Probably not very obvious either. But I've been making jokes about the colours. And I'm kind of confused as to whether or not I can keep doing that for a very long period of time. Especially after I move on to other models. So, naming ideas. I could do like my PUBG one and just say what I'm painting. So, you know, episode something. Painting Sequitors, session 10 million. I love this song. It gets stuck in my brain like a bug. I hope to God you're all on the same music song as I am, because otherwise you won't understand it. And I'm not singing / humming it, because if I do, we'll very much make it obvious if the music's out of tune. And also that I can't replicate music. Bit choir, so I can sing. Like, not as part of a church, just as a activity in college. Returning tunes back to people cannot do for some reason. Maybe it's got to do with the whole track of thought thing. Novels, even though you've got them up on the table. I think I need to put my book further into my chair. I think I've done all the yellow, so while I clean my brush I will adjust my seating. Although I only have about 5 minutes left anyway. It's hard when your chair's a wheelie chair. A soft fabric wheelie chair as well. Another thing I found out, if you listen to an entire music bed of YouTube audio videos, you'll hear everything from every channel you've ever watched. And then you'll start noticing their new videos have... I think my eyes gone shut. You'll notice when they add new music and you'll recognise that. So, except for ones which didn't go, I have actually used music, but I recognise that there were chapters in my music beds because, you know, it's going to happen. You're going to get crossover. Look at that yellow brush. Yellow. I kind of wish I had a machine, like, you know, like, not using new water all the time, but something that would just spray water out, because I think that's much easier for getting things clean. I wasted the last 5 minutes just cleaning my brush. I hope the brush kind of keeps hold of the colour it picked up and doesn't get the gold later. You know, the first colour is the christening. You can tell which colour you used when you first painted with it. I'm going to accept a little bit of colour. What's it called? Bleeding. Right. Start from the furthest. Red, red, red. This looks like a very watery red. Yes. Look. It's now a flag. Yeah. With a creme top. Suddenly I stopped breathing. Concentration mode activated. Breathing deactivated. That's metal. Or should be. Controller brush finite. Eyes becoming cross-eyed. Ruffle! Trifle. That's what it makes me think of. They don't eat trifle. But, you know, the custard on the bottom and the jelly on the top, or the other way around. Which way is trifle? Sure, it's the jelly on the top, because the custard will be heavier. And then you get cream, and then you get 100,000s or 100 millions or whatever it is they're called. This is a much darker red than I was expecting, actually. The Memphis? Mephiston. A lot of colours are darker than you would think, just because the pigment settles. Once the water is disappearing, or whatever it is, liquid. was coming and I still jumped. No, I was just getting into it. Right, well, I'm going to finish doing this raid, but I am going to sign off at the same time, because last time I didn't sign off. I ended up with more than an hour's worth of footage. And no way to cut it right. So, from the Sequitors to you, I say thank you for watching. Please check out the YouTube channel, which you'll get all informed about in a minute. But you can also find me on Twitter, and for images of these characters, you can also find me on Instagram. Details for all this is in the description below. Really hold them here. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna have to change the camera anyway for the next one. For now, thank you for sticking through to the end of this video. And if you like what you saw and want some more, why not hit the like button, maybe subscribe, and then check out one of the videos or playlists showing up on the screen. Or why not head over to the channel for even more options. And if you have subscribed, hit the bell on this video or the channel page and get notified every time a new video goes live. But either way, it's bye for now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!